How did Native Americans sleep in the wilderness during the coldest nights? Hello guys, today we will know about how Native American people slept in the wilderness during the coldest nights. We will speak softly and slowly. This narration is meant to help you relax, to rest, and to fall gently into sleep. Imagine a winter evening on the northern plains of North America, around the 15th century. The sun has already dropped low. Cold air settles over open land, and the earth grows quiet beneath frost. There is no sudden movement here. No loud sound. Only wind moving through grass, and the careful rhythm of life preparing for night. The settlement is small and temporary. Homes stand where they must, not where stone allows. Everything is shaped by season, and by knowledge passed down through generations. Paths between shelters are narrow, pressed into the ground by many feet. Not paved, not marked, only known by memory. As night comes, fires begin to glow. Small, controlled, never wasteful. Light and warmth are precious. The shelters are built low to the ground, using wood, earth, bark, and hides. Nothing is taken without purpose. Nothing is left unused. Some homes are made of bent poles, covered with animal skins, pulled tight to block the wind. Strong despite their simplicity. Others are shaped from earth itself. Walls packed thick. Entrances narrow. Designed to hold warmth through long nights. Inside, space is close. Families gather together, not for comfort alone, but for shared heat. A small hearth rests near the center. Firewood arranged carefully. Flames kept low. Smoke guided upward through openings. The floor is earth, covered with grasses, reeds, and firs. Softened by time. Warmed by bodies. Sleeping places are arranged close to the fire. Not touching it, but near enough to feel its breath. Position matters. Animal hides serve as bedding. Deer, buffalo, elk. Cleaned. Dried, layered thick. Warmth held close. People do not sleep alone. Children rest between adults. Bodies pressed gently together. Heat shared through the night. Clothing is worn even in sleep. Softened buckskin, wool traded from distant lands. Leggings, shirts, cloaks. Everything layered. Caps cover heads. Feet wrapped in fur. Hands tucked close to the body. No skin left exposed. Before sleep, food is eaten. Simple, warming meals. Corn porridge, beans, dried meat. Cooked slowly over low fire. Food is shared equally. Bowls passed hand to hand. Steam rising softly. Bellies warmed before rest. Children eat quietly. Taught early to respect winter. Waste is not allowed. Silence is natural. After the meal, the fire is prepared. Not fed heavily, but banked carefully. Coals covered with ash. This keeps heat alive through the night. without burning too fast. A skill learned young, remembered always. Outside, the cold deepens. Stars appear sharp and distant. Wind moves across open land, searching for weakness. Inside, the shelter holds. Walls block the worst of the air. Hides shift softly with movement. The fire glows gently. Sleep comes slowly. Not deep at first. Ears remain aware. Bodies listen to the night. Someone wakes often. Not in fear, but in habit. To check the fire. A small piece of wood is added. Carefully. Barely disturbing others. Routine continues even in darkness. The coldest nights test knowledge, not strength. Those who know survive. Those who rush suffer. Outside, snow may begin to fall. Soft at first. Then thicker. Sound grows muffled. Inside, the shelter grows quieter still. Breathing becomes slow. Children settle deeper into hides. Adults remain close. In the morning, light returns gradually. Gray and pale. Filtered through cloud and snow. The fire is stirred again. Water is warmed from ice. Snow melted slowly. Never wasted. Used for drinking and cooking. Work resumes gently. Hunting tools checked. Clothing mended. Food stores counted. Women scrape hides. Repair seams. Prepare fibers for weaving. Hands moving steadily. Men check traps. Observe tracks in snow. Read the land carefully. Learning from silence. Children help where they can. Gathering wood. Holding tools. Listening more than speaking. There are no markets here. No shops. Trade happens seasonally. Through travel and meeting. Transport is simple. Sleds pulled by people or dogs. Used carefully. Only when needed. As day fades again. Cold returns quickly. Night approaches without warning. Routine begins once more. Food is cooked slowly. The same warming meals. Comfort found in repetition. Strength drawn from familiarity. The fire is banked again. Shelter checked. Hides adjusted. Children settled first. Sleep returns. Bodies close. Breath steady. The wilderness waits outside. This is how Native American people endure cold nights. Not by force, but by understanding. By respect for land and season. Night after night. Winter after winter. Knowledge keeps them warm. And sleep comes, quietly. The night deepens slowly over the land. Cold settles closer to the ground. Stars seem sharper. And silence grows wider. Inside the shelter, warmth is guarded with care. The fire breathes gently. Not loud. Not bright. Ash is drawn closer to the coals. Hands move from memory. Learned through many winters. Never rushed. The air inside feels heavy, carrying the scent of smoke and hide. Familiar. Reassuring. People shift their sleeping places slightly, turning shoulders away from drafts, pulling furs higher. Small adjustments that matter. Children sleep nearest the center, where warmth lasts longest. Their breathing soft, protected by many layers. Elders rest closer to the fire as well. Age feels cold more deeply. Care is given quietly, without being spoken. Clothing remains on through the night. Buckskin softened by wear. Fur-lined garments folded inward. Heat held close to the body. Outside, wind brushes against the shelter. Testing seams. Moving past. Searching for gaps. The shelter answers with stillness. Low walls. Curved shapes. Built to let wind slide away. Snow gathers against the sides. Pressing gently. Adding another layer of protection. Nature helping nature. Someone wakes briefly. Not startled. Only attentive. Listening to the fire. A small piece of fuel is added. Barely a movement. Barely a sound. The glow steadies again. Sleep returns in waves. Light, then deeper. Never fully lost. Awareness remains. Dreams are quiet. Filled with familiar images. Firelight. Open land. The coldest hours come before dawn. When fire burns lowest. And breath clouds thickest. This is known. Bodies draw closer. Hides pulled tighter. Heat shared without thought. Survival is communal. Outside, the land rests under frost. Animals sheltered in hollows. Wind calms briefly. Then returns. Inside, the shelter holds. Earth, wood, and hide working together. Knowledge shaping every choice. Nothing accidental. When light finally begins to return, it is faint. Almost uncertain. But welcomed. The fire is stirred once more. Ash parted carefully. Coals breathe again. Warmth rises slowly. Children wake gradually. Eyes blinking in dim light. Hands reaching for warmth. Morning begins without words. Another night has passed. Quietly. Carefully. As it always does, the morning settles in slowly. Not bright. Not clear. Only a pale light resting on the frozen ground. Inside the shelter, people wake without urgency. Bodies stiff from cold. Breath visible for a short while. Then fading as the fire strengthens. Someone rises first. Moving carefully. So warmth is not lost too quickly. So sleep is not broken harshly. The hearth is tended again. Ash moved aside with practiced hands. A small piece of wood placed gently. The glow responds. Steady and calm. Water is prepared from snow or ice. Melted slowly near the fire. Never rushed. Never wasted. Food follows soon after. Simple and warming. Corn porridge, beans, dried meat. Cooked long and patiently. Bowls are shared quietly. Held close to the body. Steam warming faces. Strength returning little by little. Children sit near the fire. Wrapped in furs. Their movements small. Watching more than speaking. They help in simple ways. Passing bowls. Holding tools. Learning by repeating what they see. Outside, the world remains still. Snow covers the land evenly. Sound carries far. Even the smallest movement is heard. Men step outside briefly. Only when the air allows. They read the land. Tracks, wind, sky. Hunting tools are checked. Not always used. Winter makes every journey a choice. Energy is saved. Women remain close to the shelter. Scraping hides. Repairing seams. Preparing clothing for the next night. Needles move slowly. Thread pulled tight. Hands steady despite the cold. Clothing is protection. The shelter itself is checked. Hides tightened. Poles adjusted. Gaps closed against wind. Snow piled against the sides is left in place. It blocks the cold. Adds weight and warmth. Nature becomes part of the shelter. As the day moves on, light fades quickly again. Winter days are short. Night never far away. Food stores are counted quietly. No fear. Only awareness. Planning is constant. Children are brought closer as evening nears. Cold deepens quickly. Bodies gathered together. The rhythm returns. The fire is prepared once more. Not fed heavily. Only banked. Heat saved for the long night. Hides are laid out again. Layer upon layer. Positions chosen carefully. Warmth shared. Outside, the wilderness waits. Silent. Endless. Unchanged. Inside, breath slows. Fire glows softly. Bodies rest close together. Another night begins. Not with fear. Not with struggle. But with knowledge. Passed quietly from one winter to the next. The evening settles gently once more. Not announced. Only felt. As light thins and cold returns. Inside the shelter, movements grow slower. Energy is saved for warmth. Voices soften further. Silence stretches comfortably. The fire is checked again. Ash drawn close. Coals protected beneath. Heat held carefully. Smoke drifts upward in a thin line. Lingering beneath the roof. Then slipping away. The air remains warm enough. Hides are adjusted along the walls. Edges tucked inward. Drafts blocked where they appear. Every small detail matters. Children are guided closer to the center. Placed between adults. Wrapped tightly. Their warmth protected without question. Elders are given the nearest places to the fire. Age feels the cold more deeply. Care is shown quietly, without words. Clothing is loosened and shifted, not removed, only arranged for sleep. Layers remain essential. Caps are pulled low, feet wrapped carefully, hands tucked beneath blankets. No skin left open to air. Outside, the wind moves again. Not strong, but persistent. Searching. The shelter answers by bending slightly. Curved shapes guiding the air away. Poles holding firm. Hides moving softly. Snow gathers against the entrance. Pressed gently into place. Blocking the cold further. Another layer of defense. Someone wakes briefly in the night. Listening. Feeling the fire's warmth. Judging its strength. A small piece of fuel is added. Placed quietly. Barely stirring the embers. The glow steadies again. Sleep returns gradually. Not deep, but restful. Awareness never fully leaves. Dreams come and go. Short. Familiar. Shaped by daily life. The coldest hour arrives before dawn. Known by all. Breath grows heavier. Bodies draw closer. Hides are pulled tighter. Heat shared without thought. Movement minimal. Survival woven into habit. Outside, frost thickens on the ground. Stars fade slowly. The sky lightens almost unnoticed. Morning approaches. Inside, the shelter remains still. Fire glowing faintly. Breath rising and falling. Life holding steady. When light finally slips inside. Soft and pale. It touches faces gently. Another night has passed. The fire is stirred again. Ash moved aside. Coals breathe once more. Warmth returns slowly. Children wake with quiet sounds. Stretching fingers. Reaching toward the hearth. The day begins without haste. The wilderness waits outside. Cold. Silent. Enduring. Inside the shelter. Knowledge remains. Routine continues. And life moves forward, quietly. The day moves forward with gentle care. Not marked by hours, but by warmth and need. Winter guides every step. Inside the shelter, the air feels settled. Smoke rises in a thin line. The hearth holds its quiet place. Neither strong nor weak. Morning light fades quickly again. Clouds drift low. Cold presses close. The land offers little warmth. People move with practiced ease. No motion wasted. No gesture hurried. Everything learned through seasons. The fire is kept alive with small offerings. A stick. A handful of embers. Enough to hold the edge of cold. Water is warmed again. Snow melted slowly. Shared carefully. Used for food and strength. Meals remain simple and steady. Corn and beans. Dried meat softened by heat. Warmth more important than fullness. Children sit quietly near the hearth. Their bodies wrapped. Their eyes following movement. Learning without instruction. They are given light tasks. Holding wooden bowls. Passing hides. Sweeping straw back into place. Outside, the wind has softened further. It moves across the land without anger. Snow lies undisturbed. The world feels wide and still. Men step out briefly once more. Checking traps. Reading tracks left by animals. Judging the day carefully. They return quickly. Cold clinging to hair and clothing. Warmth welcomed without words. Hands held near the fire. Women continue their quiet work. Scraping hides. Preparing furs. Ensuring clothing will last. Needles move slowly through thick material. Thread pulled tight. Stitches strong and even. Protection made by patience. The shelter itself is tended again. Poles checked. Bindings tightened. Every part trusted. Snow remains packed against the walls. Left there by choice. A shield against wind. A gift of winter itself. As the short day passes, light fades once more. Cold returns quickly. Evening approaches without sound. The routine begins again. Food prepared slowly. Fire adjusted carefully. Children guided closer. Hides are laid out in familiar order. Layer upon layer. Positions chosen with care. Warmth shared. Stories are not needed. Routine brings comfort. Familiar sounds soothe the mind. The hearth speaks softly. Sleep returns in gentle waves. Bodies rest close together. Breathing grows slow. Awareness remains light. Outside, the wilderness stays unchanged. Cold. Silent. Patient. Inside the shelter, life continues quietly. Held by knowledge. And by care passed from one winter to the next. The night eases into another morning. Not bright. Not warm. Only present. Inside the shelter, the fire still glows faintly. Ash holds its heat. Coals breathe softly. Warmth returns little by little. People wake without signal. Eyes open slowly. Bodies remain close for a moment longer. Cold is greeted with patience. Someone rises first. Moving carefully across the earth floor. So hides do not shift too quickly. So warmth is not lost. The hearth is tended again. Ash drawn aside gently. A small piece of fuel placed with care. The glow strengthens quietly. Steam begins to rise. From melting snow. From warming food. From breath itself. Morning work resumes in silence. Hides are shaken gently. Straw pressed back into place. Sleeping spaces prepared again. Water is warmed as it always is. Not hot. Just enough. Shared without waste. Food follows slowly. The same simple meals. Corn, beans, dried meat. Cooked long and steady. Bowls are passed hand to hand. Held close to the body. Steam warming faces. Strength returning quietly. Children sit near the hearth again. Their movements small. Their voices low. Winter has shaped their habits. They help where they can. Passing bowls. Holding tools. Learning through repetition. Outside, the land remains white and still. Snow rests undisturbed. Sound carries far. Even a footstep echoes. Men step out briefly. Only when needed. They read the land carefully. Wind, tracks, sky. Traps are checked quietly. Not all days bring success. Patience matters more than force. Winter decides. They return to the shelter quickly. Cold clinging to clothing. Hands stiff. Warmth welcomed slowly. Inside again, work continues. Hides scraped smooth. Furs sorted and stacked. Clothing prepared for nights ahead. Women guide needles through thick material. Thread pulled firm. Stitches even. Protection built one motion at a time. The shelter itself is watched constantly. Bindings checked. Edges tucked tighter. No gap ignored. Snow packed against the walls remains. Left untouched. It blocks the wind. And holds warmth close. As the short day fades. Light weakens again. Cold returns quickly. Evening approaches without sound. The routine repeats. Food prepared. Fire adjusted. Children guided inward. Hides are laid out once more. Layered carefully. Bodies positioned close. Heat shared naturally. Voices grow softer still. Silence stretches. The hearth speaks in quiet pops. Comfort settles in. Sleep returns gradually. Not deep, but steady. Awareness resting lightly. Outside, the wilderness remains patient. Cold. Endless. Unmoved. Inside the shelter. Breathing slows again. The fire glows low. And another night is held, quietly. The hours pass gently within the shelter. Not counted. Only felt. As warmth rises and settles again. The fire remains the quiet center. Never bright. Never forgotten. Its presence steady and reassuring. Ash is shifted with care. Hands know the right pressure. Too much movement wakes the cold. Too little lets it creep closer. People stir only when needed. Bodies remain close. Hides stay layered. Heat is kept where it belongs. The air carries familiar scents. Smoke. Earth. Worn fur and grass. These smells mean safety. They speak of survival. Of many winters endured. Of knowledge remembered. Someone wakes briefly again. Not fully. Just enough to listen. To feel the fire's breath. A small piece of fuel is added. Placed quietly. Barely a sound. The glow answers softly. Sleep returns without effort. Breathing deepens. Muscles loosen. The body trusts the shelter. Outside, the cold moves across the land. Silent. Persistent. Unconcerned with those within. Wind brushes the hides. Slides along curved walls. Finds no sharp edges. And moves on. Snow rests against the shelter's sides. Pressed firm by time. Holding warmth inside. Another layer of protection. The coldest moment comes again. Just before dawn. When fire is lowest. And night feels longest. Bodies draw closer instinctively. No words are spoken. No signal given. Shared warmth answers the cold. Children breathe softly between adults. Faces turned inward. Hands tucked beneath hides. Protected without question. Elders remain near the hearth. Their place unchanged. Care given quietly. As it always has been. The fire holds. Low. Steady. Enough. Slowly, light begins to return. Not bright. Only a gentle lifting of darkness. A sign, not a promise. The shelter grows slightly clearer. Shapes appear again. Faces soften in the dim light. Another night has loosened its grip. The hearth is stirred once more. Ash parted carefully. Coals breathe again. Warmth rises slowly. Steam lifts from melting snow. From warming food. From breath itself. Morning finds its place. Children wake with small movements. Stretching fingers. Shifting hides. Reaching for warmth. The routine begins again. Without urgency. Without sound. As it always does. Outside, the wilderness remains unchanged. Cold. Silent. Enduring. Inside the shelter. Life continues. Held by knowledge. And by patience shaped through many winters. The day moves quietly toward its end. Not marked by sound. Only by the thinning of light. And the return of cold. Inside the shelter, the air grows still again. Smoke drifts lazily upward. The hearth settles into its evening glow. Neither strong nor weak. People move less now. Energy saved for warmth. Hands rest near the fire. Listening to its soft breath. Hides are adjusted once more. Edges pulled closer. Drafts felt enclosed. Small movements with great meaning. Children are guided inward again. Placed between familiar warmth. Wrapped carefully. Their safety never questioned. Elders rest where the heat lasts longest. Near the hearth. Where cold reaches last. Care shown without words. Clothing is loosened only slightly. Never removed. Layers remain essential. Night demands respect. Outside, the wind returns softly. Not fierce, but present. Moving across open land. It touches the shelter briefly. Slides along curved walls. Finds no opening. And passes on. Snow presses gently at the base. Holding firm. Sealing warmth inside. A quiet ally. Someone checks the fire again. Not fully waking. Only listening. Feeling its steady pulse. A small piece of fuel is added. Placed with care. Barely a shift in light. Enough to last. Sleep settles in waves. Light at first. Then deeper. Never careless. Dreams come quietly. Of familiar paths. Of warmth. Of routine. The coldest hour arrives once more. Known without clocks. Bodies draw closer. Breath grows slower. Shared warmth answers the night. Hides pulled higher. Movement minimal. Stillness protects. Outside, frost thickens. Stars fade behind cloud. The sky lightens faintly. Morning waits. Inside, the shelter holds steady. Fire glowing low. Breathing even. Life secure for another night. When light finally slips inside. Soft and uncertain. It touches faces gently. Without demand. The hearth is stirred again. Ash moved aside. Coals respond quietly. Warmth rises once more. Children wake with small sounds. Stretching fingers. Seeking heat. The day begins again. Outside, the wilderness remains patient. Cold. Silent. Enduring. Inside the shelter. Routine continues. Knowledge remains. And life moves forward, quietly. The quiet deepens as evening settles once more. Not suddenly. But gently. As light thins and shadows return. Inside the shelter, movement slow further. Not from weariness alone. But from care. Every motion shaped by winter. The hearth glows softly. Its warmth familiar. Its sound steady. A presence trusted through long nights. Ash is drawn closer again. Hands moving from memory. Never hurried. Never careless. The air carries the same sense. Smoke. Earth. Warm hide and grass. These smells speak quietly of safety. Of shelter holding firm. Of cold kept outside. Of knowledge at work. Children are guided inward once more. Placed where warmth gathers. Between bodies that protect them. Wrapped without a word. Elders rest near the hearth. Their place unchanged. Their comfort guarded quietly. As it has always been. Clothing is shifted gently. Layers loosened just enough. Never removed. Night still demands respect. Outside, the wind moves softly again. Not fierce. Only present. A reminder of the world beyond. It brushes the shelter lightly. finds no opening, slides away along curved walls, and continues on. Snow remains pressed against the base, packed firm by time, holding warmth inside. An unspoken shield. Someone wakes briefly. Not fully. Only enough to listen. To feel the fire's breath. A small piece of fuel is placed quietly, barely changing the glow. Enough to last. Enough to trust. Sleep returns without effort. Breathing deepens. Bodies relax. The shelter is known. Dreams come slowly. Not vivid. Not troubling. Only familiar shapes and warmth. The coldest hour arrives again. Just before dawn. When night feels longest. And fire burns lowest. Bodies draw closer instinctively. Hides pulled higher. Movement fades. Stillness answers the cold. Children breathe softly between adults. Hands tucked in warmth. Faces turned inward. Protected without question. The hearth holds. Low. Steady. Enough. Slowly, the darkness begins to lift. Not bright. Only a gentle easing. Morning finding its way back. The shelter grows clearer. Edges soften. Shapes return. Another night loosens its grip. Ash is parted once more. Coals breathe again. Warmth rises slowly. The day prepares to begin. Steam lifts from melting snow. From warming food. From breath itself. Life stirs gently. Children wake with small movements. Stretching fingers. Shifting hides. Seeking the fire. Routine returns without sound. Without urgency. As it always does. Winter still present. Outside, the wilderness waits. Cold. Silent. Enduring. Inside the shelter. Life continues quietly. Held by patience. And by knowledge shaped through many winters.